Hello and welcome back to We Needed Roads. I'm Neil, and joining me as always is David, a man who believes every bad decision in cinema can be avoided with either a flamethrower or the power of song.
What? Where's that come from? Burning the planet down with that with
I just thought it was funny. I just thought it was
a
funny.
flamethrower. I mean, I like a musical number, don't get me wrong, but where'd the
Yeah.
flamethrower come from?
So this week we are diving into Park Chan-wook's No Other Choice, a film all about pressure, desperation, bad decisions, and a horrible little voice in your head going, "Yeah, this will probably be fine," right before everything goes to shit. And it's also a murderously funny social satire about capitalism and the hints of danger of AI. Also, I was surprised not to see Domhnall Gleeson in it because the paper. Yeah, that didn't work in my head either.
Yeah,
David, would you commit murder by plant plot to get a job?
depends on how much money I get paid for the job, I suppose.
And more importantly, why would your wife catch you immediately?
I feel like why would she catch me immediately? Probably because I fucked it up or come back with blood on. You know what? You know what it would be, and this is embarrassing to admit. But so we have a system. Natasha does do the washing in the house, right? I genuinely don't know how to use the washing machine. So I come back with blood all over me. And I wouldn't know how to wash it in the washing machine. So I'd have to ask her how to do it, and she'd probably find out that way. But I do all the ironing, okay, people, before I get people shouting at me.
Pillorying you from
It's
pillar
probably
to
why
post.
everything's got creases.
And on that note, cue the music. So, from legendary South Korean filmmaker Park Chan-wook comes No Other Choice, a deliciously black comedy social satire about wealth, the modern job market, family dysfunction, and of course, good old-fashioned murder. Now, Chan-wook's film is actually the second adaptation of Donald Westlake's book, The Axe, which was then adapted in 2005 as The Axe by Greek-French filmmaker Kostas Gavros, who Park dedicated this film to. Because remember, it said dedicated to Kostas Gavros at the start. I was like, oh, who's he? He directed the original film from 2005. Don't worry, he is not dead. He is a healthy 92 years of age, though. Honestly, that Mediterranean diet,
92. Good for you.
it does wonders, man.
Yeah.
The film begins with a picture-perfect barbecue in a wondrous house where we see Lee Byung-hun's veteran papermaker Man-soo as he preps a meal of eel sent by his new American corporate overlords, and he makes it for his whole family, including his wife Miri, played by Sun Yin-jin, stepson Si-won, and his neurodivergent cello prodigy daughter, that is a mouthful to say, Ri-won. And they have a great life. The couple go to dance lessons, they have tennis, they even have two adorable Labradors for the children as well. Life is
What
good.
are the Labradors' names?
They are also Re1 and C1.
Rewan and C1. I love
Yeah.
Rewan and C1. I love Rewan a little bit more, I think.
And you see them there, and he's like, he brings his family in for a big hug, and he's like, life is good.
It was
And then-
way too idyllic. Like it was so perfect. Like everything about that scene, like the like it was just like the brightness on it was just like dialed up a little bit. Like the saturation on all the shots was just like a little bit more saturated. Everything was just like is way too, like, but not to the point where it's like overly obvious. But it was just like everything's way too happy for this dude.
And then doesn't the camera like tilt up and it says no other choice?
Yeah,
And you're just like, his calls are going to turn to shit.
Also, I want to know how this man afforded this house. I want to know what this job is. How much does these jobs pay?
Paper's big.
I'm in the wrong industry, my man. If paper's earning this much, ching. I suppose it's what it's printed on, isn't it?
Those dastardly Americans fire Mansu and most of his friends. And then we see how it affects his family's quality of life. You know, from almost no meat in a dinner soup to no more tennis lessons. And as the months go on with Mansu only picking up minimum wage jobs, this puts a strain on his marriage because we then learn that he had a past drinking problem as well. Things get progressively worse, and Miri even has to take a part-time job at a dentist, leading to Mansu developing a psychomantic toothache. You know, they have to get rid of the dogs as well. I was wondering, I had to Google this because I wasn't sure in the film. the dogs go to their in-laws or parents.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because
I
the, the
wasn't sure
the
of that
father-in-law picks them up, doesn't he? And takes yeah.
because I wasn't sure. But then, worst of all, they have to consider downsizing and selling Mansu's childhood home that he worked his whole life to reacquire to an absolute dickhead of a potential owner who just doesn't like the place and wants to smash that through there and do that there. And you're like, oh no, you're a dick. But despite not being able to land a proper job, Mansu comes up with a devious plan to get his dream job at Moon Paper by creating a fake paper company and then planning to kill all the people who answer his fake advert, thereby eliminating the competition for the job. And let's just say things don't go to plan. So let's get into the good, the bad, and the what the fuck moments from No Other Choice.
Is Moon Paper an actual paper company?
I
I'ma Google it, people. You'll find out soon. If it is, it's not English. It's not coming up on an English on my search.
Well, let's get into the good, the bad, and the what the fuck. And the good. I mean, there's so much good in this film. I mean, I had no idea where this story was going, but I was completely invested. And with the director, I kind of had Old Boy stuck in my head because that's kind of his like magnum opus that most people know.
You're expecting like a massive sort of like fucking fuck up twist, right? Like at some point.
Because there's that one shot in the trailer with him with the chainsaw, and I was like, "Oh, this is going to get heavy." Like at some point, it's going to get. But no, I was expecting murder, carnage, revenge flick. No, what we got was a lot more nuanced, satirical black comedy.
The comedy of this is one of my massive goods because I did not expect it to be anywhere near as funny as it was. Like some of the absurd, like satirical comedy throughout it.
I noticed there was a slight anti-American sentiment to this film as well. Like, there's a bit where they have to cancel Netflix, and they even have the sound effect of Netflix on it. I was like, oh well.
The main actor's the same guy from Squid Game as well, which is like the biggest show on Netflix.
Right. And then like get cancelled. That had to be an in-joke. That had to be a good in-joke.
Yeah, yeah.
But like you say, the American bosses are like, oh yeah, it's going to be great. As he's there with his eel, and then boom, it's almost cuts to them all being fired. Like within.
Did they give you the eel? Oh, yeah.
The acting by Lee Byung-hun is superb as Mansu. Like, he balances comedy and desperation so well. Everything he does is to maintain his family's life and the life they have. And it makes him kind of sympathetic despite, him being a murderer. Just not a very good murderer.
So I disagree with that point as well.
Really?
I don't think everything he's doing is for his family. And I think everything he's doing is for him.
Really?
Yeah. It's for him. It's almost very selfish. Everything that he's doing, it's not for his family because he's learned because he sees the self-reflection in everybody he's killing, right? So there's the person that he's kills that's like, I've been in this job for 25 years. This is the one thing that I know. Like blah 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 blah. And his wife's there telling him, I don't give a shit about that. It's about how you deal with getting sacked, how you deal with it, all that sort of stuff. Every person he kills is a reflection on himself, and I see it as he's not doing it for his family. He's not doing it so his wife can have tennis lessons, so he can afford the best teacher for his daughter and all that sort of stuff. He's doing it for himself and his own selfish reasons more so than the.
Well, what are those selfish reasons, and why is he doing it, if not to maintain the lifestyle that they've grown accustomed to?
It's more like the pride in it, the pride of having a job, this paper job that he knows and loves forever, and like he can't deal with the fact that he's not able to provide this for his. It's more the fact that he can't deal with the fact that he can't provide, not to be able to provide. If that makes sense, it's
yeah, I get your point. I disagree with it, but hey,
there's a difference there. It's not that wants to. In my opinion, it's not that he is doing it for them. He's doing it for his own selfish reasons, or that's how I interpreted it anyway. To be because he can't live with his own failings.
Yeah, no, I get your point.
I think that's all shown in the people that he kills as the reflections of himself.
I get your point, but I just feel like, and we'll get into this later, but I feel like the way his family reacts to what he does, it shows that he was doing it for his family. Yeah, you mentioned about like him seeing himself in the reflection of the people he kills.
Yeah,
I felt really sorry for the shoe guy. He was a nice guy.
Yeah, no, he seemed like a nice dude. He had a family. Again, like it's the part of him that was like the reflect is that he had a daughter as well that he was working for and living for. And he was the person that was doing everything right for his
Yeah, okay.
family. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And the other guy was the person that was doing everything wrong. Mansu is the reflection of the two of them.
Okay. Yeah, I see. I smell what you're cooking.
Mm.
I also have talk in the cinematography. I mean, this was a beautifully shot film, man. And I love the speed on some of the pans. Like, you don't normally see that in a lot of American films, do you know? Like, there'd be like a whip pan and then a pull back, and just again, the editing and the match cuts were amazing.
The edits and those match cuts. The one that I freaking loved. He goes into the shower and then the next shot is like water pouring down a drain, and you think he's taking a piss in the shower. But it's just pouring water down. It's just, I mean, that's where my brain went anyway. Maybe it's because I pissed too much in the shower. But it went.
Never take a shower around David's, people. Never take a shower around David's.
But that's where my brain went anyway, and I was like, "Oh, that's clever." But that was just like a small one. There were really, really clever match cutting in it.
Yeah, do you know what? The editing was simply some of the best I've seen this year. And the day we record this, the Oscar nominations have just come out, and I cannot believe the editing for No Other Choice just got shut out completely. But I can't believe the editing wasn't nominated, because out of all the other nominations in the films mentioned, I mean, sometimes you get a few shots of flash forwards and flash back in the same locations with the sound bridging the different time periods as well. It sounds massively complicated as we're trying to explain it here, but to its credit of the director and the editors, when you're watching these scenes, you just get it. You know what they're doing. You know what the scene is. Despite, if you look at it on a technical level, it being so like, whoa, what are they doing, man? You can just marvel at the craft. Honestly, I need to see this film again just to make a list of the transitions in the film, because as an editor myself, this is a Ward's caliber work easily from Kim Sang-byum and Kim Ho-bin. And I mean, the way they balance the comedy and the tension is just perfect. You're always just like, oh, that's really funny. Oh, that's hilarious. What's going on? Oh, wait, is this going to get dark and murdery? And you never know. And it keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole way through, I think.
Like you mentioned, the cinematography, I freaking loved the shot of the road winding and the path winding and the chase down that path onto the road. That shot, I think it's in the trailer, is it's beautiful. That's a beautiful shot. That it stuck with me, that one.
One other thing I've got on the good is the bitter irony of the ending. So you think he originally he was like trying to rally his friends against the American bosses for replacing all the staff, and then he goes through all these struggles of the film, secures his dream job to find out he's the only employee at an automated paper factory, and yet he seems happy because he's managed to restore his lifestyle, which is just ultimately empty. And there's a point that someone mentioned online, like the amazing sound editing at the end of the film, because there's like a little through line where his daughter will never play the cello for any of them.
Mm.
And then when they get the dogs back, it seems like the dogs are like the key. You know, get a Labrador, your daughter's going to be like a.
I feel like this was
prodigy.
before the dogs came back, right? That she started playing.
No, because the dogs are in the room.
Oh, they were. She was playing for the dogs, wasn't she? Of
For
course.
the dogs,
yeah,
exactly.
Of course. Yeah.
So when she's playing for the dogs, and it's the first time the family can hear her playing, and they go up and like at the door, and then again a sound transition from the beautiful sound of the cello to the machinery sounds of him at the factory. He puts his earbuds in as well, and it's such a beautiful moment to show. Yeah, your daughter is playing for your family. You're here as the only person in this like horrible space now, and let's face it, they'll probably do away with that job in a matter of years as well, man. So was it really worth it? David, did you think there was going to be a moment of realization with Mansu at the end where he's like, I've killed and I've gone through all this bullshit for this job? And like the camera was going to like close in on his face and he was going to realize the folly of his
I did think
actions.
there would be like a graduate moment where it just lingers on his face for like a little bit too long,
Too long.
and then then he's like, what the fuck have I just done, sort of thing. Yeah. That would have been cool, but it didn't have it. It didn't go that way.
Well, no, do you know what, though? That's the expected ending, right? That's what I would expect to see in a film. But no, he looks happy and he does his little happy dance. And that makes it even sadder. You're like, no, this dude doesn't even realize that you're in a worse place than when you started and you've murdered a bunch of people. So the bad, and again, very hard to find anything bad in this. And again, it's very hard because, again, cultural differences in especially like South Korean film compared to us as Western viewers. There's some stuff where I'm just like, I don't know if that's just a cultural reference I'm not getting. So maybe the way the plot spooled out as it took its time, and maybe it's more a me problem than the film. But I felt like the pacing was a little bit all over the place. But then
It
again,
was very slow to begin with,
very slow
very
to
slow
begin
to
with.
begin with, and then ramped up a lot in the middle act, and then went slow again, and then it peaked.
And it was a very long film at 139 minutes. It was 2 hours 20.
Could have maybe lost a bit of time, maybe a little bit.
Maybe trimmed it a little bit. But then it would go off in a weird direction. I'd be like, wait, why are we at like a dance class?
Yeah, one of my negatives is actually would maybe require more of the film, but it was the son's scene where he goes off and he tries to rob the
Steal the
iPhones from his
phones.
best
Yeah,
friend's dad's business, who's the same person that's trying to buy the house. That whole scene just felt a bit like I felt like I needed more behind the son, the reason why he'd want to do that in the first place. You know, like
Well, you just needed that one scene of him like not being able to afford something because they're poor now.
yeah, a little bit more there. And why the other person would get involved? Like why the friend would get fried? Yeah, but
Perhaps he thought they could just rip off the dad's store for the. I don't know. Yeah,
yeah,
it wasn't
yeah.
enough given to it.
I was a bit like when that all was happening, I didn't really care basically, and I wanted to go back to Mansu's character, but I did like the confrontation scene with the dad and him being like, "Well, this is your son's fault,"
And because Mansu's in that mode of just taking care of shit now,
yeah.
and he just does it, he just kind of approaches that situation with that same kind of appeal, man. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I mean, some critics did complain it was tonally uneven because, right, it's a very fine balance when you're trying to get comedy and murder, especially when you're trying to have a sympathetic family man, recovering alcoholic, as a murderer. And like you say, he only relapses the once in the film. And there's all these times when you see him and he's just sitting there in a bar with his orange juice. And then I know twice because there's once when his wife FaceTimes him and he's like, "Are you in a bar?" And he's like, "Yeah, apple juice." And you're not. I wasn't sure whether he was drinking apple juice.
The use of FaceTime a lot in this film, I put that as a negative as well. I realise that's like, how many people actually FaceTime as their primary mode of phoning? Is that just me being old? Because I'll just phone someone, I won't FaceTime them.
Yeah, it's you being old. Yeah.
Do people FaceTime like just normal? Like if I want to get
Yeah,
into, like
young
if you want
people
to
do.
contact your
Yeah.
like mum now, you'd FaceTime them. You wouldn't go. You would
My
just phone them
mum
like a normal person.
has FaceTimed me from the kitchen sometimes, asking me to stuff to do with dinner.
So okay, maybe
Well, like
that's just
dinner's
me.
ready.
Okay, cool. Maybe that's just the youth these days. I don't know.
I was about to say, and my 70-plus-year-old mum. Yeah, sure. I feel like some people said that they was trying to have their cake and eat it by making him a murderer, but also a sympathetic family man. And I'd argue it does work though, because coming back to what we said at the end, he succeeded. He's got away with it. At the end of the film, it's just that his new job won't last that long, and he's essentially sold his soul for a few more years at best. He just doesn't realise it yet. Lack of development for the supporting characters. I did have at some point, and I'll admit this. I had trouble identifying who the new victims were when they came in. I was like, oh, it's drunk guy. Oh, it's social media guy. And it's shoe salesman guy. They were the three people he murdered, right? Was it just the three murders?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I didn't have an issue with that because there was that scene where he was categorizing them.
Yeah, but he had six,
like, this
didn't
person's the most likely to get the job. This person's not. This person's not. And then it's me. He sort of worked it out as to who they're going to go through to get. And then he was like, all right, I'll be it here. And he was like, would this person get the job over me? And he was like, I'm in an R over it for a bit. So that was really helpful for me to help identify which person's which.
I obviously wasn't paying as much attention in that scene, and then I was struggling. I literally just was like, oh, it's drunk guy, it's social media guy, who also was drunk guy, and really nice shoes guy who didn't deserve to be shot. All right, then, this brings us on to the what the fuck moments from this film. And there are a few. I mean, for me, the standout one has to be the single most hilarious scene of the movie, where Mansu goes to kill an unemployed drunk called Byum Mo, and this is the film's highlight for me, as a drunken Byum Mo thinks Mansu is there to kill him because his wife is having an affair. She is, just not with Mansu. And I laugh my ass off when Mansu approaches, and then he has the three different gloves on, and he's taking a glove off, and he's taking another glove off, and then there's a gun, and he's so drunk in the show, he's like,
The shouting above the music as well, whilst they're trying to communicate, is quite funny, and the fight for the gun with the music as well.
Well, the song I googled is called "Red Dragonfly" by Cho Young Pil, and yeah, and well, there because like you say, you see him he's there with a gun, and he this is the first time he's trying to kill someone, and he's struggling to go through with it. And then his wife, Beyond Mo's wife comes in and sees him. She's probably thinking, well, I was thinking, is she just going to let him go through with it? Because obviously, and then she tries to get the gun off him. And then in all the chaos, she ends up shooting her husband.
Yeah. And chasing after him with the gun down the path.
But this is really clear. This shows you how switched on Mansu is, though, because he manages to escape. He's getting the car and he drives off and he's like, what the fuck was that? But he has to go back there because he realizes she's got his gun. And so he has to dig up. Because I was like, why is he going back? What is he doing? Then I see the muddy gun. I was like, oh, he went back to get the gun. And then obviously to make sure that he was actually dead as well. Because obviously he doesn't know he was dead when he ran off. Honestly, it is one of the most insane and darkly funny scenes you will see this year. Just the shouting over the loud music. And you didn't even have to have those subtitles to know that they couldn't understand what the fuck each other was saying. It was just so funny. What else do you have in the what the fuck then?
So the scene where he confronts his wife after he thinks she's had an affair, and he's like, take off your panties, I want to smell it. Yeah, he's like, I'll be able to smell it. And you're just like, fucking hell, dude. That's really dark. And that's where you find out about his like dark drinking, how he turns into a different person after he's drank, even though he hasn't had a drink at this point. And he used to beat his stepson, technically, although he's consistently telling you, and he's consistently telling his wife, and that's clearly some deep-rooted pain and argument that they have, is that he's not actually the boy's father. All the funny kills, man. Oh, the bonsai tree body. Oh my god, how is that not a what the fuck? So it's a so we get at earlier in the film that the guy's really into bonsai trees, and he's there like pruning them and making sure that they're all shaped properly. So when he's got this one of his victims gets the tiniest little chainsaw in the world that would make a lot of mess, and he thinks, nah, that's not going to work. So what does he decide to do? Fold him into position and tie him up.
Truss him up like a pig, because what was his father? A pig farmer. Did not know that when I watched the film. I missed that point.
I thought it was a bonsai thing that he was doing, not the pig thing. But there is the reference to the pigs all throughout it, isn't there? And they buried a pig and stuff. Yeah, I didn't get that until just now. But yeah, I just saw it as a bonsai.
I just saw it in research. I suppose the other what the fuck as well is right at the very end. Well, towards the end, when his wife discovers what he's doing and she's cool with it.
Yeah,
she helps. It's that scene on the sofa when she's like, we do this. It's basically, I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember the exact words, but it's along the lines of, no, we do this as a family. Which, again, backs up my thing that he was doing it all for his family, in my opinion.
No, I still disagree with that. But yeah, the fact that his wife was all totally cool, like she wasn't totally cool with it, because she discovers it by digging it up. But I think the reveal that she's not gonna like dob him in, I suppose, is when she tells the son, "Oh no, it's just a pig. Oh, your son, you saw a pig. It weren't a person." That's the So that's like the moment where you're like, oh, okay, it's not going to go down the route that you think it's going to go down, and that she's going to find out, leave him, and he's going to lose everything that he's ever had in his life, or everything that you think that he's fighting for, which is where you sort of think the film's going to go. It goes the opposite route, and they're going to fight this fight with him. I went to see this with a buddy of mine who's also recently got his unlimited card, and he
sponsor us Cineworld.
Yeah, bless him. He hasn't seen that many foreign language films, mainly because he's dyslexic and he can't read the subtitles as quickly, and especially when it's like, I feel like with Korean, like they talk quite quickly, and a lot. So it's like you do have to read you do have to, in some instances anyway, read quite quickly. And he wasn't able to do it for a lot of the time, so he was there sort of watching half a film and then not knowing what's going on with the dialogue, not being able to see the beautiful cinematography and the match cutting and everything like that, which we were able to appreciate, and still enjoyed it.
And of course, we know he still listens to the podcast.
Yeah, and he still enjoyed it as well. I think he said he'd only give it like 3 stars because he couldn't fully appreciate the movie as a whole.
Well, David, I asked for comments on this film, and of all places, I got a response on Substack. I forgot we're on Substack. Oh, well, I'm on Substack as well now. I post a pod there, and a lot of work goes into scripting these shows and like research for the shows, and I bung them up there as well. But this isn't the Substack plug, but it will be later. So I asked for comments, and one of my followers on there, Lloyd Dean, said this because he put a full review out, and I was like, "Oh, dude, really good review." And so I said, yeah, "Any quotes?" And he said, "The losing your job isn't a problem. The problem is how you deal with it. In many ways, this one stupendous scene represents the whole movie and is tragically entertaining and satirical commentary on society. It might be filmed in South Korea, but its themes of neoliberalism are universal." Couldn't have said it better, Lloyd. Nice job.
Lloyd seems a lot smarter than we are.
In a conclusion, I'd give this. What would you give this out of 5, David? What would your
I
rating
think I
out
gave
of
it
5 be?
4.5 out of 5. I think that's where
I'd
I
give it
landed on it.
4.5.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was greatly entertained throughout it. It was twisty, it was turny. I was never 100% sure where it was going to go. Was it going to go fully dark and have Mansu kill even more? And I think we both just mentioned there, when his wife found out, I thought, oh, is she going to leave him? Meaning everything he'd done for his family was for nothing. And that's a trope we've seen in so many films down the years. You know, that's where I thought we was headed. But like we said, when his wife's okay with him murdering for them, I mean, as okay
I
as
don't
you
know if
can
it was
be.
okay, yeah, but she just maybe accepted it.
Well, yeah, because by doing that, he succeeds, he gets his dream job, he protects his lifestyle, and he achieves everything he wanted in a really hollow victory, as he's left alone in a soulless factory, the only person left at work and alive.
I just thought the world's worst police officers. I mean, there's been some real bad police officers in cinema, but those guys were just clueless.
Right, where do I put that in? Good, bad, what the fuck?
Put it where it's just been.
I just thought there was going to be that moment at the end, you know, we talked earlier, where the camera zooms in and he's like, oh shit, what have I done? I'm stuck here as the only person left here. And after everything he's been through, and then, like we said, that job's not going to last that long anyway. Like, it won't be long before they don't even need someone to do that in building. So it's a Pyrrhic victory. It was won at too great a cost to have been worthwhile for the victor. Well, that's all the time we have on this week's episode of We Needed Roads. David, tell us about your paper handle. Where can people get you to make paper for them online?
If people want me to get them paper, they can do it at Long D and Blue Sky or at We Needed Roads on Instagram.
And if you want more We Needed Roads nonsense, you can find us everywhere. We're on Twitter at Needed Roads, we're on Instagram at We Needed Roads, and we're on TikTok at the We Needed Roads podcast. And you can follow me personally at Neil_Gregory on Instagram and Threads. Join Threads, people. It's really good, and loads of people comment on stuff there. It's really
Stop trying to make Threads happen, Neil.
Threads. It's not like a Mean Girl situation. Stop trying to make Threads happen. Threads is happening. It's happening right now. Go over there. Drop a thread. We've been We Needed Roads, and we'll be back before you can say we're sorry. We have no other choice.
We Needed Roads.
What are you looking at, butthead?